for last year or this year. I don't know.
Who's on it?
Man.
That should be on it. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that should be on it that ain't on it. And a lot of people that are on that have no business being on there.
I think I'm supposed to be playing music, aren't I? Yeah, that's right.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm like,
wait, that is live?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, we're missing something.
I wouldn't consider it stupid. I would just consider it reality that will hurt some feelings. So. Man, what you snacking on?
Pop-Tart.
What flavor?
Blueberry.
I'm a sucker for the brown sugar.
Man, that's the most common one.
Brown sugar pop. Hey, bro, I'm a basic bitch. I'll just be real. I'm a basic bitch. I like the simple things in life.
They did have that brown sugar look like a pretzel crust. Now that was crazy.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
That's what we need. The exotic Pop-Tarts.
Damn, I need to go find that. Yeah. Hey, can I can't tell. Oh, I can, dude. Look at that. Brian's already on.
That's like brown sugar Pop-Tarts and blue Kool-Aid.
Oh,
take me back to hell.
And
Brian was good, brother.
Noodles. You gotta have some ramen noodles with that.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Warning: if you're faint of heart or easily offended, this show is not for you.
I don't give a damn about what you saying, bitch, you in the way. Closed case, my nigga beat the charges like yesterday. In your face, I'ma go hard and make sure you see the cake. Keep the pace, ain't no one fucking with me, this not a race. Doing the shit that I want, I'm never gonna stop, I'm never gonna give in. Making my way to the top, I told you to ride, I told you to get in. Now you can't eat out my pot, it's filled to the top, and I'm about to dig in. You say I was doing you wrong.
Hello, and welcome to the Go Rogue Podcast. Tonight we have with us Ray Wilson, American Bully breeder and fellow podcaster. We'll get into that a little bit tonight for sure. I want to talk about his podcast, but let me get this.
Hey, man. Hey, he's the competition. Mute him. Just kidding.
Let me see. Banner up. Appreciate y'all guys tuning in. If you, man, I got feedback. I can hear myself really well right now. What's up, Sam? We got Brian in the comments. What's up, guys? Got our banner going. We're good. So we'll just go ahead and get it out of the way because people are going to notice. And because I guess it's worth mentioning, we didn't realize because we scheduled you last week, and we didn't realize that you were going to have a Machiavelli litter today. But you did just drop a Machiavelli litter. Congratulations.
Big congrats.
Thank you. That went off unplanned, even though it may seem that way. But, you know, I'm on the Go Rogue podcast today, and I just dropped a Machiavelli litter today, and it's a rainbow.
That's a rainbow, damn.
And I was
it's a rainbow, man. We got black, blues, lilac, and chocolate. So yeah.
Nice. How many?
6, 3 girls, 3 males.
Shit. Can't beat that.
Beautiful ratio.
Even kill.
Nothing wrong with
Well,
that.
thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right. So let me make sure we got comments working. Everyone seems to be happy and live. We're rolling. All right. Man, in the first couple episodes, we were like, I was screwing up shit left and right. So now we got it down. We got a system going.
He's refined.
That's right.
This man right here, dialed in.
I can still screw up. I just do it less now.
Yeah.
Sure. So, Ray, tell us, how did you get? Because you actually bred pit bulls before you bred American Bullies, right?
Yeah. I didn't directly breed them. My family did. So I grew up with a family breeding pit bull. So no, I didn't make no decisions. I was just around it, doing the work, helping out.
Kind of born into the into that breed?
Yeah. My older brother, he started it. So I was probably like 13, 14 while he was doing that, like 20 plus at the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
So he kind of taught me how to breed, got me into pit bulls. Then when I decided to come over here, I was like, hey, I found this breed. I think they better than pit bulls.
Uh-oh.
Man.
We should look into doing this. I don't think it's that much stigma and judgment on it over here.
Now, did he switch with you, or did he keep doing his thing and you do your?
No, he's here. He's here. He's over here now. But no, when I first came, he was like, no. Those are mutts. Those are mutts. We're not doing
those. Are mutts. Critic.
Yeah, we're not doing it.
Wasn't having it.
But eventually, I started doing it, and then he was like, "All right,
man, them mutts are nice."
No, he was like, "You fucking it up." Like, I'm coming. I'm coming. Don't do it wrong. Let's do it together. So he came over and he was like, "All right, let's look at how we used to breed it, and let's do it the same way. Now you really gonna get your hands dirty and see everything that I was doing."
Trying to look and see.
And I had to teach him about the whelping part because they didn't used to do that.
Oh no.
Yeah, they even did like
natural.
Yeah.
Like
that mama knew everything. She knew how to do everything instinctually.
Yeah, that was the hard part, trying to get him off that old school stuff like a PG. We're gonna count these days. No, we're not. We're gonna do these tests. We're gonna get in contact with the stud owner. We're gonna let them know the numbers. No, that's crazy. It's day 11. Hold
on. Oh damn! Let the male tell you when she's ready. Let the male tell you.
You know what I'm saying?
Man,
once he found out what these dogs don't natural, oh man, what you got me over here doing? These dogs can't mount, then they not dogs. We had to go through that whole phase.
Right.
Hey, but he full throttle now.
Really?
Yeah.
So how was there a particular dog that got you noticing the American Bully?
My friend, he came over. He had a bully. I still had pit bulls. He had a bully, and I thought it was a pit bull, not in a bad way, because I know you don't want your bully to be mistaken for a pit bull. I knew it wasn't that his dog looked like a pit bull. It was just I wasn't educated enough to know that it was a difference. I just knew his dog had a way bigger body and head than my dog. Mm-hmm. But I just was asking like, who did you breed to get this? Why does your dog head look better than my dog's head?
Right.
So I asked him that, and then he was like, "Oh, this not pit bull. This is a bully." I was like, "Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a bully. Yeah. Who did you use?" I didn't know he really meant like it was a breed. I just thought he was calling his dog bully.
Like a bully,
Man, that happened for months and months. And then he got another one. So it's years I'm still like, man, that pit bull. And he keeps saying bully. And eventually he sat me down. He was like, "No, bro, it's really a breed called bully." And I was like, "Oh, this is a whole thing. So you just didn't get lucky and got this beautiful head." He was like, "No." And then he started telling me about that, So my friend, he was into the dogs too. Yeah. Once I saw that head, I was like, I want that head on my pit bull.
Now you making the switch, I know, well, obviously because of your podcast, we get into that later, but you kind of weigh heavily on the pedigree. I noticed like you're into pedigrees deeply.
Mm-hmm.
So is that one of did that happen immediately? Like you switched to American Bullies, you start digging through pedigrees or?
Yeah, immediately. I mean, before I even got all the way in, I cared about pedigrees because of the pit bull side. So then when I came over here and my brother had to make sure that I didn't lose that, because I'm telling him like, man, this is a phenotype breed. Maybe the pedigrees are not going to matter so much. And then, he and I, we had a lot of back and forth. And it was like, no, your pedigree is going to matter more now because there's no consistency now. So we're really going to need to lock certain things in. So once I got back on that train, I was like, okay, I care about the pedigree. So what we did, how we used to look at certain, I guess, what characteristics we were breeding for, we just try to change it over. Whereas if we're breeding for this type of drive, let's compare the drive to what you would might say is a head shape. Or if we are looking for that aggression, now we're not looking for that. We're going to compare that to a top line or the bone or the legs. We just started saying, hey, let's just look at these traits, like those traits, and let's breed it the exact same way once we learn these pedigrees and who carry those traits. And let's not try to breed differently.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, you went from a working class dog,
Yeah,
to a companion style. Now you went from something that can be judged not just aesthetically, but its drive, it's it's the way it can complete a task, whatever it is, weight pull, obstacle, whatever it is, right? You went from that breed to something that is just aesthetically pleasing and more of a companion style. So the switch of trying to like breed certain features, that must have been real interesting.
The first year that was hard. It was real difficult because if you coming from like an established breed like that has a lot of game and drive, and that's what and you created in your mind, this is what a dog's supposed to do. Then when you come over here and you see this beautiful dog, you think it does that, but it looks different.
Right.
And then you learn like, oh no, this is like my friend said, this is a different breed, right? This is a different breed. And he really meant that. So once I learned like, okay, this is really a different breed, it was hard because my first dog, I'm still trying to make it do pit bull stuff.
Right. And it just wants to lay there.
Yeah. I mean, I had a classic at the time who had a lot of drive, but he still couldn't do certain things. Like we're not running, we're not jumping, we're not doing bite work.
Right.
And then I find out like these dogs have some weather issues. I'm kind of like,
yeah.
Do I want to mess with this breed? Because I don't think this is a breed right now. And it was just a lot of conflict in my own head. I was feeling like this isn't morally right to breed these dogs. And then I'm like, well, I can fix it. I'm going to fix the breed all by myself. Yeah. It was just a lot of conflict in that first year. So even though I had these classics, they're doing all of this stuff really good for an American bully. And then people are like, that's not a breed type dog.
Right.
And, well, your dog is fat. And
got defensive.
Yeah. It was just going in the wrong way. I couldn't figure out. I didn't have the vision. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a vision at that point. So I didn't know if the dogs were supposed to look a certain way or to act a certain way. And then when I learned more and I got into the standard and I'm like, okay, these are the breed characteristics and this temperament is a part of it. This is a companion dog. It's not a work dog. It's not supposed to be out here doing trap work. Once I learned like, okay, bro, you really got to understand this is a companion, like through and through.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to know that you're like breed type currently. And once I figured that out, it's been fun. It's been fun.
And I think a lot of people that cross over, especially from the pit bull over to the American bully, like one thing they really focus on with the pit bull is that gait, right? That powerful stride, that energy that they have, right? Where the American bullies is very heavy. It's a heavy, firm, like kind of strong gait, but it just doesn't have that light, fast gait like the pit bull. So
then we come over.
I'm letting that go.
Like bite. I never knew that bite was an issue. Like not having a scissors bite? Like, how does that affect? What do you mean the dog has an underbite? Is it a bulldog or is it a pit bull? You know, so I'm like, okay, so now there's flaws that I kink tails. Like, wait, what? Where's this stuff coming from? And then, you know, then so that creates you to go back into the pedigree and try to learn. Like, okay, now this is interesting because the breed is so new that you kind of have the opportunity to influence what the final stage of it will be, even though we may not be alive to see that result. We'll be a part of that creation. So that's, I was like, oh, this is interesting. So you got to go backwards to go forward because we're young enough that I feel like what's behind it still matters.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Jack Smith wants to know what would be. Well, he wants to know the big name dog that got you into bullies, but it wasn't really a big name dog. So, what was like the first big name dog that kind of caught your attention, and you were like,
yeah. So when I first got in, I used to want to have a dog like King Kamali, which was razor edge dog, big standard size dog. Well, probably XL now, right? I guess it moved a lot over the years. Standard maybe, XL borderline. Yeah, I wanted a big dog like that, and he was nice. He was put together, no fat, very lean, classic style dog. Right? He was the closest thing that I probably could relate to a advanced pit bull. That was when I first got it. That was maybe about the first year before I realized, like, so I started getting dogs that resembled that. And it didn't take long. By the time I went to my first show, I was already had understood that I was missing the mark.
And I think so. You're another one, just like me, just like Han, just like it seems like most of the people we talk to, you just end up with initially a little more classic dog than, you know, your vision led you to later.
Yeah, I didn't do the right type of research before I came in. You know, like, I can't say I didn't research at all, because I did. I just didn't. Like, you don't even know what you don't know yet.
Yeah.
So there were certain things that I should have been researching that I didn't even know existed, like so many different head shapes. How am I supposed to know that there's a bunch of different head shapes? How am I supposed to know that there's varying levels of bone? And, you know, I knew that there were height differences. I knew that some dogs were put together better or worse than others. But when it started coming to this dog has this much bone and this dog has this type of shoulder set and layback and angulation, and it was like I could see the right thing, but I didn't know like how detailed that got. So that first year was rough on me.
But you probably learned the most. You probably learned the most, retained the most. That first year was probably the most pivotal year for you, because I'm sure you went outside and you seen these dogs, seen the competition level, you know.
And it didn't take a lot. Like, I wasn't kennel blind, even though, you know, I was new to it. I wasn't kennel blind. I just did not know, because even the first dog that I had was better than everybody that had a bully that was around me. And they was like, "Oh, you got fire." And compared to what they had, I was like, "Fucking right, I do." But once I went to the show, I was like, none of us have anything. We all got to start over. We all have to start over. And, you know, I knew that from the first show I went to. I was like, I seen beautiful dogs. They could move. They were bigger than our dogs. They had better head shapes. They were younger than our dogs, and they had that. So I was like, yo, we're going the wrong way.
And then even in reality, in 2024, what the dog is still a moving target, right?
Yeah.
Like you could breed for the dogs that you see in the show ring today, and by the time you produce them in 2 years, then you take it to the ring, you're going to be behind.
You got to be in front of it. You really got to be in front of it.
Yep, you got to stay in front of it, and it's tough. It's real tough.
Somebody move that needle though.
That's what I hear. I'm not. Can't say nothing, but I think you might be. So you start refocusing. You decide to pick up some dogs more towards your target, and just let everybody know, like, what's our time frame here? Like, how long have you been doing it? And what the bully 2020?
Okay. Yeah. So like I started doing my research in 2020, and then I didn't even buy my first dog until the end of that year. Like it was around Thanksgiving, because I remember just bringing like that puppy to the Thanksgiving dinner. He was still like, I could hold him in my hand still. So my first puppy was like November 2020. So we're not even talking about a complete 4 years. This year would be 4, right?
Basically, you focus, which I'm gonna tell you, a lot of people don't, me included. I just got lucky that I found good people, but most people don't do that kind of homework. I mean, you did, nearly a year's worth of homework before you choose to buy a dog.
Yeah, and it was still incorrect.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I wouldn't say incorrect. Right. It was just maybe dated.
Yeah, right. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Because probably, honestly, when you bought the day you bought your dog, and if you would say the day you bought your puppy, if it was actually an adult that day, it probably would have been okay for the ring at that point. No, still no. That's the kind of way I looked at it. I was like, no, if my first one was, if I was able to get her that day and she was an adult and I put her in the ring, then she would have killed it way better than she did a year later when I had to let her grow up.
Yeah, if I'd have bought him as an adult, then I would have bought him. I definitely would have bought him, because he is what I thought it was. But it just didn't match, what was really happening outside of that small circle.
And how easy was that realization for you? Like
immediately.
Immediately. Yeah. Some people are hard to accept the fact that they need to change things up. They just try to find a way to make what they got work. And then some people are just like, all right.
I didn't even know what Easty Westy was, but when I seen him, I was like, that's not supposed to do that.
That's right.
I'm like, that's not supposed to do that. So then I started like, what's this? Dogs can do that? Yeah. So no.
How drastic was the correction in the way you wanted to approach your program, right? From that moment, because a lot of people are like, I'm starting over completely, or some people are like, I'm gonna take small steps into improving each generation off of this,
Well, he was one dog. He was just one dog. I bought probably like 7-8 dogs my first year. That first year, I bought 7-8 dogs. I went to that show my first year. I hosted a show my first year, like that following year, and I was like, man, I can't travel enough to see all the dogs I'm trying to see. So I was like, the only thing I know next is to bring the dogs to me, and I'm gonna have to host a show to do that. So I threw a show. I hosted a show. I did it fast too, like 2 months time frame. I put on an ABKC show, got it going, and I was like, all right, now I'm gonna get all of these dogs in one place, and I'm gonna get to see all the varieties, and I don't have to travel to do it because they came to me. And from that, like that day, all the 7 dogs I had that day after that show, I was like, you can make it, you can make it, you can't. And I keeping like 2 of those dogs. And one of them was a champion at the time. And I was like, you can't even hack it anymore.
All right, when we came to that show.
Yes. And that's where I first seen Machiavelli.
Yeah. We came to that show because the fucking air conditioning went out.
So come to find out, the AC never went out. We were over capacity.
Okay.
I was
like, it was holding on. Like it was, I'll give it that. Like
Good
you were
try.
on the edge of sweating, right? But then I saw someone reach over and kick on an exhaust fan, and it was blowing out the bill. And I was like, okay, there goes what little cold air we had, just was blowing it right out the building.
Dude was there that did that. He was like, I'm a HVAC tech. I can have a look at it. And I was like, this ain't my venue, man. I'm renting it. I don't think I do that. He was like, yeah, let's just go around back. And we went around back and he did that. And I was like, man, they're never going to let me rent this place again.
I think that's what a lot of people, when they go to a venue, they don't realize, that air conditioner will freeze you out when there's a few hundred people in there. It's all different. That body heat is real.
Yeah. I learned that the hard way because I called her. I was like, yo, your AC kicked out. And she called her guy up there. She was like, yo, the AC is blowing full throttle. She's like, we just never had this many people in here before. And, I regret that. I didn't go big because I'm like, yo, this is my first show. I don't expect anyone to turn out. It's COVID. And I don't know. I can't say how it worked or why it turned out, but it did. I feel like people like shows in Virginia and they want to see more of it. And
there's a lot of dogs in Virginia, bro.
And it's a lot of different breeds here. Like we have a huge pit bull community still. Like my show had so many pit bulls in it. So many pit bulls. We got a lot of shorty bulls out here, OEs. So, the different breeds was a lot. So it wasn't just like we had like 125 dogs show up. And that show, it was only a 2 months notice that I did that, which I'll never do again.
Yeah.
Don't throw a show in the 2 month time frame.
Okay, I was gonna say you're never gonna throw a show again, or that short
Probably
notice.
Probably both.
Oh, probably both.
If I do it, it's not gonna be in 2 months, and it's not gonna be alone. Like I just got in, I didn't know a lot of people, so I felt like I didn't have any trust, so I have to do it by myself. I was even reaching out to judges. Judges was kind of like, "Who are you?" Like they thought I was joking. Like I reached out, I was like, "Hey, I'm trying to host a show. Can you help me? I saw you did a show." A lot of the judges were hosting shows. They still do. So I reached out to them and they was like, yeah, I'll help you. And they would never get back with me. I'm like, you think I'm joking? It's not a game. I'm trying to host this show. Help me or don't help me. Nobody helped me. And then I just got in contact with ABKC and I did it the right way and the show went up. Then people reached out to me like, oh, your show went up. It's only 2 days. You're going to have not 2 days. What do you call it? Two shows.
2 shows, yeah.
Yeah. And then, Regina at the time, shout out to Regina, Forward Thanker, hit me up and basically said, your turnout's going to be ass for a 2-event show. Partner with me. I have experience. I'll show you the ropes and we can turn this into a 4-event show. Yeah. And I said, thank you. I've been asking for this for so long.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I had to show people I was serious, though.
Yeah. No, I mean, for what it's worth, the show, other than the AC, blinking out on you, the show went fine. I didn't think we had any issues with it overall. I was just trying to, because you said, you had met Machiavelli there, and to be honest with you, I don't even remember taking him.
No, I think he was. I feel like he was there. He was a young pup.
He may have been there. Because we took Precious was on her.
Zero. Yeah, she cleaned up.
Precious was there.
And I think the only dog that beat her that day was Zero.
Yeah, and Zero was there. But he was on, he did his thing for forever. That was an amazing thing to witness.
He did. Happy birthday, Zero.
That's right.
Oh, today's his birthday?
Bam, look at that.
Zero and Mimi.
Happy birthday,
Zero. And Mimi. Yep.
I don't know where
Happy birthday to this new litter.
Yeah, that's right. Same day.
Pilo's birthday today too. Shout out to Pilo.
Shout out Pilo.
Must be a popular day for nice bulls. Like, what can I tell you?
There's a couple other. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But
yeah, I don't know where the rest of the Zero litter is. Only ones I know. Mimi, Medina has what's her name? Katana, I think. This is one of the sisters. And I've got Mimi, one of the sisters, and of course Zero. But there are other ones out there. I just don't know where they're at. Happy birthday, King.
I've seen Katana. I feel like I have.
Yeah, I don't know if he's
I've seen her in a pedigree. I look at so many pedigrees.
Yeah, can you imagine having a litter of 13? Oh god.
Oh, is that how many was in Zero's litter?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all holding out then. What the rest of those at?
Yeah, I know. And from what I understand, they were all very consistent with each other. So
yeah, I didn't feel like
there's some potential, like, you know, grand champion dogs just chilling on the couch, and
Right.
You know.
Well, not initially, apparently. You know, we saw comments today when I posted that picture of Mimi. Someone commented on Sam's comment and said something about how they all looked like pit bulls when they were young.
Yeah.
But you gotta imagine how much can a puppy develop in the womb when there's 13 others in there. Right. They're probably going to pop out pretty disappointing, right? Because they're just going to be tiny because they're so trapped in there in such a tight space. And then they all develop at different rates. So you have pups that look big in the beginning, but then everyone catches up with them.
Right.
I mean, and then you get you ain't got enough milk flow from mama. You probably have to supplement feedings to make sure they all get fed properly. And then it isn't until like they're eating mush and you can disperse food. It's just big litters are hard. They're very hard.
Right, that's the whelping box size.
But yeah, like feed time, it's just a recurring cycle. It's almost like no downtime.
Yeah, none whatsoever. It was probably hell. We'll have to get Sam on here and let him tell us.
Yeah.
Did he whelp that litter? I think he did, didn't he?
What the rest on that, Sam? Why you holding out?
I think he did.
I'm not sure.
I think he did whelp that litter. I'm pretty sure that he did. So let's bring you up to a little bit more modern day. You early on, you throw a show. You learn a valuable lesson there about throwing shows. That's something yet to even I have the balls to try to do. So kudos there. But that gave you an idea. Obviously, a bunch of dogs came to you. You got to see, what the dogs were.
Yeah.
So you started moving forward. You start making changes. What kind of bloods did you pick up? What kind of blood did you decide? Okay, this is what I need to have in my yard.
Well, everything that I had at the time and what I decided to keep, I ended up wanting to stick with the Reliance blood that I had. I was big with Reliance going into it. And then after the show, I felt like my Reliance, it needed some things added to it. But I felt like it had the best like skeleton foundation to build on for what I knew I was about to do. I knew I was about to go really heavy. And I really said, who can handle what's about to happen to their frame? Because I'm going to blow it out. and when I evaluated my dogs, it ended up being my Reliance dog.
Right.
And I had a good relationship with the person I was buying my Reliance dogs from, who is Julian Amons, who had grand champion, has grand champion Jaws at the time. And, I had a good relationship with him. So I knew like he was an honest guy and, he could really like break a dog down and handle a dog. And he never tried to hold back on the faults. When I purchased the dog from him, what am I looking at? He would tell me, and then the pluses. It was never like, and then I have to find out when I get the dog, like what it is. He was somebody I could trust. So I knew I can always get Reliance dog, like a top keeper from him. And so that's what I did. And I knew they was going to be able to withhold what was coming.
Now that Jaws, I've never seen in person. Was he a pocket or a standard?
Yeah, pocket.
He's a pocket. Okay. Because I've seen some later stuff, like stuff off of Jaws too. Certain dogs,
Jaws was standard, though.
They were all big ass dogs, and I'm like, this is really what I expected. Like I didn't.
J2 was standard.
Yeah. So Jaws was a pocket, and so Reliance blood, and then you start mixing. You start taking that. What are we taking that to make your generation, your first generation, I guess we could say.
Grim.
Okay.
Grim blood, lots of it. lots of it. Grim, Brim. I was looking at K2. I still am. I just got around to my Grim stuff first. Then, the results start happening instantly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking instantly. But I knew that at the time, I knew I wasn't breeding for a litter. Knew that I was breeding for a dog.
Yep.
Or two. And then I would need to hone that dog. And then I could start looking at doing some things consistently. So, a lot of people was like, oh, you got to take the baddest bitches to the baddest, which is, if you're going for a full litter, I agree. But if you're trying to just put one
that dog, yeah,
I disagree. You don't need to take the best thing. And don't take the most fucked up thing. But you got a good dog. You're lacking a few pieces. Like my dogs at the time, I felt like they were lacking in head size, and I felt like they were lacking bone. Even the shape, I like the shape, the muzzle. I don't want to try to step on nobody's toes. The muzzle that you get from a Reliance dog may have been a bit much. So yeah, just being honest, I knew that those were some things, but structurally, I did not have any issues when it came to movement, just overall structure, angulation. I didn't. We were just lacking some of those features that could put us aside.
Right.
Yeah.
Other dogs.
And that muzzle is a strong trait.
Yes.
It is a very strong trait. I have a female that was off of a Grim son to a Grim daughter, which was a Reliance blood on one end of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then we took the product of those, a daughter, to Grim again, like 3 times Grim right up front. Right. And the one puppy I really love, chocolate female, we'll just say not a Grim muzzle. And I was like, where in the hell did this come from? Right. And then when you really start looking back in the pedigree, you're like, oh, I see where it's coming from. Right. Every other puppy in the litter was, Grim related muzzles. This one girl, which super wide, like super heavy bone, nice female, just totally wrong muzzle for me.
Right.
So something you got.
I'm on my 3rd gen with it now. You could say 3rd, no 2nd. You probably call it 2nd. But the original dogs, I'm on the dogs. When I cut everybody out and I say these are the girls I'm keeping, I'm on their grandkids now.
Okay.
So I've seen what happened to the muzzle with the first, and I've seen what's happened to the muzzle now for the second time that I'm breeding in this direction, and it's looking like what I thought would happen 2 years ago. I'm happy the direction that I'm going. I still know what dogs I need to counteract certain things, and what I'm doing now is I'm building up in a way that it will consistently produce that. So my goal is I'm trying to keep my Reliance structure, and I just want to put enough on it to where the dogs are, with this type of size, they're moving better than you would expect to see them move.
Right. Yeah, and there's no doubt about it. I think with any particular blood, I think any breeder should sit down and say, if I'm going to use this blood, what can I expect to get from it? And if I use this, what should I expect to get from it? You should have a playbook on hand that next litter drops and you say, this litter's lacking this particular thing. There should be something to run it to, of that's going to bring that back in. You know what I mean? To kind of fix it for you. Somebody said, when you say structure,
no,
you just mean rear assembly.
No, not really. I'm talking about fronts. I'm talking rotor set. I'm talking top line, and yeah, of course, rear assembly. But no, I'm not only talking rear assembly. The
overall silhouette of the American Bully.
Yep. Yeah, it needs to be enough to hold the mass that I'm about to put this on, and that even comes down to the front side of the dog as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's good though that you can look at a particular dog and be able to compartmentalize it and say, okay, in this breeding, I'm looking to add this. And then if this negative thing that that dog has also carries over, then the next round, we're going to try to eliminate that. And we're just going to try to create the finished product eventually. Because in reality there is no perfect dog out there. There's not a dog that has the 100% American Bully stamp on it. You know what I mean? There are very nice dogs out there, but every one of them has something about them. They bring some detraction to the breeding, regardless of what you say. There's people that swear them down over some dog's perfect, but it's just not. It's just not. And
most of those people though, they can't appreciate a dog that beats their dog. You know what I mean? Those are the same people that are stuck being kennel blind in a sense,
Right.
Yeah.
To this day, I see a nice dog. I'm like, I should knock that dog in. They're just like, I guess you can get a little like, I can see where people can get a little like kennel, what do you want to call it? Not blind, but like, like blood faithful. You know what I mean? Like, this is my blood. I represent this blood. You know what I mean? And when you get that hard headed, it makes it tough for you to pivot. You have to be able to pivot.
Sometimes you got some friends, man, who will be like, listen, man, it's time. It's time to cut the rope.
Yeah.
You tried long enough. Now you're just wasting time and money. It's time to cut the rope. So, you got some friends like that. And then you got some of the people who fire.
Yeah, that's a problem. It really is a problem. Yeah, we spent the first couple of years like doing some very like questionable breedings,
I think we all have though, like
really questionable inbreedings. Thinking, okay, if we get that unicorn from it, that's a great thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then we ended up making the tools that we need. And that was the huge benefit. That was the benefit in it.
Right. Like, is this a step in the final process? Like last week you said, like, yo, you're looking at like a 10-year process, a 10-year goal. So, like if you're getting one dog of the, that unicorn out the breeding, to me, it's not a bad thing. It's not the finish line. I just, when people feel like it's at the finish line, then that's the problem. But the thing is, when I was breeding for those unicorns, I wasn't selling dogs with breeding rights after I got my unicorn.
Right.
Like people are like, yeah, but it's a Grimson. Yeah, I don't care. I did this for me.
Right. Exactly.
I don't care what you think. I did it for me.
That's right.
I'm still doing it for me. And I hope at some point I can stop trying to keep everything. But shit, man, it's getting better and better, and I'm feeling greedier.
Yeah. And that is, we had talked about that. I don't know if I talked about with you or with Han on the last show, but it makes it, some people like me, I know Han's this way, I'm sure you're that way too, is you don't want to put a dog out there with your stamp on it. That's not going to represent the breed.
Right.
Some people will think it's a great dog. Some people are like, man, that dog is crazy. I'd buy that dog in a minute.
Yeah.
But then they're going to take that dog, they're going to put it all over the internet. And there is, I was just looking at this the other day, that there's this crazy, keep them all, bro.
Yes. Yeah.
There's this phenomenon where I can't remember what it's called, but basically what happens is you look at your dogs and you see all these things and you assume everyone else is going to see it. But then the reality of it is people are a much broader glance. Like they're not going to look as detailed as you do as your dog.
So when I'm looking at my dog, am I seeing like all the good or all the bad, and then other people are seeing the good? Or how is that? Like, what am I seeing? Am I seeing mostly flaws, or I'm mostly making up excuses?
Well, I would think your personality is probably a lot like mine, where you're just finding everything wrong with the dog.
Yeah.
And then you would say, okay, this dog isn't necessarily worthy because of this fault, and this fault.
Joel, what's up, man?
But the reality of it is if you took that dog out and you showed it to people, they wouldn't necessarily see those things.
Yeah, I'm still mad at them. I'm still mad at them, though. I'm just like, you haven't seen enough dogs yet.
But the point of that is like they would possibly buy that dog from you because they don't see what you see. They're taking like the 30-foot view of the dog instead of like you're looking at this level right in front of your face.
Mhm.
So that's on you to decide, yeah, I got to turn down money because I don't want my yard name on this dog out here in the community and then them posting photos of it and God knows what else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then they want to tag you.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
well, so like even a dog that, you know, is a top pick out of the litter.
Mhm.
I've seen it multiple times where, you know, the way your dog, your keepers, your holdback pups look mature, they always look better than the ones you send off, right? And it's not because they're the holdbacks. They're not. It's not because they're first, second pick. It's because you've already dialed in the way you maintain your dogs, right? You have a regiment, you know. And for us, we like to keep our dogs on the heavier side of healthy, if that makes any sense.
A lot.
Like, I want bully. I don't want fit. I want bully. Bully to me has a little bit of added weight to the frame, you know.
Not fat, but
Yes, right. But it's like the dog that we sent off that would have easily been a keeper, but we decided not to. Went to somebody who wanted breeding rights, and they don't feed the same food we feed. They don't help enable the genetics, right? If that makes sense.
yeah. Hold on.
And it's like,
hold on a minute. I'm gonna let you finish.
hold
on. Listen, you messaged the wrong person. You messaged my wife.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So get in my inbox and we will be on there. Guaranteed. Get in my inbox.
Yeah.
You gotta message me. You message my wife. She's like, she don't know. She's too shy for that. She'll get on live right now. Be crazy.
Will. Oh yeah, bro.
But if it's playing, she's like, I don't know. If they ask me questions, I'm like,
you gotta be. You just gotta catch her.
Yeah, you just gotta catch her.
Yeah, just message me, buddy. We'll get it set up. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
It's like, so for nobody takes care of your dogs like you take care of your dogs. You know what you're working with. You know how to enhance the genetics. You know, I can sell you first pick, but it's going to look different in your house than it would look in my house. If that makes any sense.
No. Yeah, I need to capture that little section right there so I can send it to people.
Now you do have co-owns, right, Ray?
Do I have co-owns?
Yeah, you have some dogs out there. Co-own people.
A lot of co-owns.
Yeah. So that, you know, as far as managing your co-owns, you kind of let them kind of do their own thing. You're there to help them, obviously, but you're not like trying to dictate what they do or whatever.
I'm dictating breedings. I'm just gonna be honest. Right. I'm dictating breeding.
Now, do you do the your turn, my turn thing, or do you come to a mutual agreement on every? You just dictate them all.
He rules with an iron fist.
I mean, you can bring the breeding to the table, but it had better be a breeding that I already had on the table too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm giving you the opportunity to figure it out, but I'm already looking at probably like 5 options.
Right.
And if you bring one of those 5 to the table, then I'm convinced that this is the right one. If you bring none of them 5 to the table, I'm like, all right, it's too many dogs that work for this for you not to have got one.
All right. I'm gonna help all your co-owns out right now. Mention Machiavelli. Mention Machiavelli. He'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna listen to you.
That might work. That might work. I might got one more Mac breeding that I can do in my program at this point. But it's gonna have to be some different blood because I done did it with my Reliant, and I did it with my Grim blood. So y'all gonna have to show me something different to bring to the table. But no, I kind of kind of want them to do what they want to do, but at the same time, like, this is for us. And if you're doing a breeding that I don't feel like is going to benefit where I'm going, then I can't, I'm going to say bring another spirit to the table.
Right.
But if I took a co-own from you, I expect it to be the same way. And if you said, I don't approve on that,
Right.
All right. So I got to find some common ground where we both can go, because I don't want to co-own with you forever. At some point, I'm going to let you go. You're going to let me go, but I'm not going to do you a favor and have you breed our female in a direction that doesn't work for me just so you can grow legs and sprint. We're going to move this at the same pace. We both better benefit.
Right.
And if we can't come to an agreement, then.
So are you in for all 3 breedings, or how?
No. So most of the time, sometimes it's 1 or it's 2. And then at that point, like, the less it is, then the more strict I am on who this dog needs to go to, for sure. Like, if I'm co-owning for 1, hands down, picking that stud.
Right. Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
You can have your fun when I'm done.
Right. And I think Aldwin right there, that's pretty much how a lot of people do it, is just that, the very first one I'm picking, the second one you pick, third one, that's yours. Like, it's 100% yours.
I can't do that, because at the second one, if you're picking, then you might as well just own the dog at that point, because I might not want anything from you.
Might not want anything, right?
Yeah. So
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I'm not getting down with that. We're gonna get this thing figured up front. We're gonna be transparent before we even go in the deal. I'm letting you know, like, I care. I really, really care about these breedings. But what I do though is you can have first pick, and then we'll flip it around like the next time around. Yeah.
No, that's completely fair. I think that's completely fair. But yeah, it doesn't benefit you at all if you hand them a dog that has good breed type, reasonable structure, and then they say, yeah, I'm gonna breed to this like 7-year-old champion standard, you know what I mean? And you're just like, that's going in the wrong direction.
Like, no, you're not.
So the results from it is just going to take you. It's wasting your female. At the end of the day, it's a female you produced, and it's just wasting a breed.
Yeah. Congratulations on your pet home if you do that.
Right,
Roger. This question's for Dina.
Okay. What do you feel? What do you feed Hans breakfast?
Yeah.
I mean, whatever he wants. Generally, we give him the jelly meatballs. I don't know why.
No, when we're talking about food.
What do you feed?
Yeah.
What do I feed? Or what do you feed? Oh, okay.
What do I feed my dogs? David, you can message me.
I read it like you did, Roger.
Yeah, like, what am I feeding?
I asked it that way. So
I thought it was, what are you feeding Hans?
I thought it was funny. Yeah. David, you can message me. Well, we can go over it. I feed. It's too long to explain, but I feed certain dogs different things.
Is it too much? Is it too much game to be sharing with the community?
No. I feed Inukshuk. That's the brand I feed. But we also feed raw, and there's certain other things I put in it for certain dogs.
Right.
So
the benefits figured out.
You remember we said
every dog's different.
We do a lot of talking, but there's just some secrets we don't put out on the internet.
Good.
Yeah.
I was gonna.
Got to be in the fam to get those.
Trend.
Everybody is like that,
D-ball.
Yeah, sure.
Some Winstraw, some Anavar, steroid. I'm just naming steroids.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm like, what?
I saw that on Facebook today. Like, I forgot who posted it. He's like, you got to stop feeding your dog steroids. I was like, dude,
don't make me break out.
I don't know. See, that's the thing. Yeah. I don't know if like steroids designed for people can actually be effective on dogs, or just, there's certain things that are meant for people that are not meant for dogs, or ineffective. Yeah. So I'm sure that somebody's found something that might work on dogs, but that's just fucking terrible. So,
I'm not saying that there are dogs out there in steroid land, but I can probably think of a couple. You could reach out to people and they might know what to use. Not saying
do y'all think people do that?
Honestly, there's probably a few out there I think do.
For real?
Oh yeah. Well, apparently me.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, like how confident do you think that somebody's really doing
10.
that?
1 fucking million%. 10. 10. 10.
Does
10.
it look good?
I mean, you can just know. You see a dog and the dog's like super jacked and his nuts are the size of this pop bottle, cap.
Yeah. Or you know, the dog has been away for a while and it pops back out, twice the size, or a dog has disappeared and it pops back up and it's a shell of what it once was. Like there's a lot of tells.
I talk about this with my friends and I'm always like, bro, nobody's doing that. It's not that fucking serious, man. It's really not that serious.
It's not widespread. I'll give you that. It's not widespread.
No, I'm saying nobody's doing it. I'm like, it's not that serious.
It is. For some people, it is. For some people, it is.
There he is. He that's Dame. He said he's been talking about it. Like, and I'm always telling him, like, bro, it's not that serious. Nobody has fucking time to figure out where to buy illegal shit from to give to their dogs.
Well, I mean, creatine, right? Creatine is
I know people are doing that.
Yeah, it's derivative of protein.
That's a whole conversation right there. But
right? I mean, it leads to so many. It can lead to so many adverse effects, right?
Yeah,
the water retention, the enlarged heart, all kinds of things. There's all kinds of things that people try to enhance their dogs
for the day, just for the day, right? It's gonna look good today.
Well, that's a problem with creatine. You can't do it. I mean, you have to load creatine.
You have to load it, yeah.
Yeah, it takes a while to get you there. So, and I just don't have that kind of dedication to anything. I'm just like, I'm a very efficiency person, so I'm like, scoop dog food in bowl, boop, there you go. Water,
yeah,
good job. You know what I mean? Anything beyond that, I'm like, man, that just takes extra time. I have to do all this shit.
It's just not that serious to
my
me.
wife now. She loves feeding raw, and I'm just like, I look in there, I go in there to clean the kennels, and my damn kennel door has raw slime on it because she's got these gloves on. She opens the door, gives them the raw. I'm like, look what you're doing to my shit. All dirty.
She's walking just
raw slime.
It's just for me, it'd be different if like the dog was scrawny and I felt like he needed it. Like I'm trying to build him up.
Right.
The dogs are already big.
But not just to feel like you're getting over.
Yeah, they're very big, plenty big enough. 7 was 114 pounds at one time. And I'm just like, it's plenty. He literally weighed, my wife literally weighed 10 more pounds than he did. Like, it's ridiculous. They don't need to be that big. So we got her to cut off. But the bad thing is you cut 10 pounds off a dog, you don't even realize it. You don't even see it.
Not at that much weight.
Yeah, but no one else sees it, but we see it. Let me see. I would guess it is people also in the bodybuilding community that would also use performance-enhancing drugs. I mean, I guess
that.
Joe Mills. Joe Mills, put your address on the screen there so people can come and throw eggs at your house because they're.
I would guess it's people also in the bodybuilding community.
You can't say that.
You wouldn't happen to know anybody that breed dogs in bodybuild, would you?
Me personally, I don't. Hans is the most muscular dude I know.
Who?
Fat.
Hans is?
I'm the most eatenest dude you know.
I don't know anybody that could be possibly doing both.
See?
Yeah.
It is what it is. So,
I mean, you don't have to be a bodybuilder to get performance-enhancing drugs. Anybody can get this shit. Know the right people.
These comments
are moving on.
Let's do that. So
anyway, so now we've talked about you, but you're still in the current mode of like you're breeding to certain dogs to produce certain generations. So you're not even really, would you say, at a point where you're like ready to pop a dog out and like trying to start making a move with it, or do you have dogs that you're good with right now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because I know you're hiding some over there.
I have puppies that I can probably put beside some people's adults now.
Oh.
It didn't take long. It did not take long.
And
then, you know, what I failed to mention is when I was buying those dogs, when I was first getting in, I wasn't buying puppies. I was buying adults that were ready to breed. So, you know, I didn't have to wait that 2 years. Like the first year that I got in this, I was already breeding.
Right. Vanessa wanted to know, when's your next show?
That's to y'all.
He's like, yeah, Roger. When you throwing a show, Roger?
Yeah.
That's definitely to y'all.
Not me. I think Sam wants to do one. And I'm like, you go on with that. You do that.
I don't. If you're talking to me, I don't see me throwing no show. My next podcast show, maybe, but I ain't throwing no dog show right now.
Yeah, we ain't talking about dog shows. So yeah, you said you got some pups, some younger stuff that not too long from now you'll start popping that stuff out. That's good. That's good. And it was good that you were able to reach a level of achievement that you thought was actually going to take longer.
Yeah. And I'm comfortable enough to actually open a stud up that I feel that can add to the community.
Nice.
Now, okay, so as far as like opening a stud up, what are the requirements that you feel are worthy for like you're confident about this dog? What boxes does he have to check for you to open him up to the rest of the world?
The biggest box is would I use him? I would never probably have a stud that I don't see that I would even want to use. That's the biggest box, and that's a hard box for me because all of these years in these breedings, I've never used one of my own studs. So I just didn't feel like the pedigree was there or the phenom. So I can't have one or the other. Like I want a stud that's going to be bred to produce on the heavy side of whatever that trait is and be locked in. I can't present a scatterbred stud. Even if he looks amazing, that's not a stud that I would even be interested in using. So it's just not going to work for me. It's going to have to be like some even 50-50, locked on top and locked on the bottom, or I'm trying to see like 75 or better one way. So that's going to be one. Number two is, am I afraid to take this boy outside? If I'm not afraid to take him outside, he's going to have to check that box. And I do plan on taking him outside. And I am going to travel with him. And those are going to be my two biggest considerations. Because I feel like if I'm going to use him, he a badass dog already.
Right.
If I do plan on using him and allowing the community to use him, I got to bring him outside. I have to bring him outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a must. You owe it to the people.
Absolutely. Now, that did remind me of a subject. I see this since I've been an American Bully. I've seen this subject over and over. And it's somebody that doesn't know a whole lot about breeding, apparently, complaining about stud owners that don't use their own stud. And I'm just like I get, like, there's probably a scenario where a stud owner doesn't use his own stud and it doesn't make sense. But in breeding, you can't use your own stud all the time. You're going to breed yourself into a corner. So it's like that argument that I see on Facebook. I'm like, you might as well have put a sign up on Facebook that says, I know jack shit about breeding.
Yeah.
Because you can't use your own stud all the time. Like, even if you have one you will use, you still have to breed out before you can come back to it.
Even if you got to wait till that timing is right or lined up. Like if you're holding on to that stud for that long, then it's gonna matter.
Right.
It counts for something. But there are people that says this isn't a stud for me. And I try to understand it and I kind of get it. And he's like, well, this isn't a stud for me, but this is a stud that can help somebody to the next level for where their program is currently at, and which could be very accurate. I'd just be like, but if he's not for you, then why do you have him?
Well, okay, so there's one scenario where I could get that. And let's say you're breeding a particular type of dog. Like in my case would be Frenchies, right? If I breed my Frenchies, Dina likes Frenchies, I breed Frenchies. I really don't care. Me personally, I don't care to keep a Frenchie. You know, she'll do, but that's not really my interest. Like she keeps Frenchies, she'll keep a Frenchie.
Excuse me.
So that particular type of dog, for me personally, I don't have any interest in moving forward with that. You know what I mean? But it's still a good tool for my program. So in that case would be the only scenario where I think it would work. There was another thought I had. I hate when that goes away. What was that? There was something else I was going to cover with you.
We were talking about keeping a stud that may not be, for you.
It was kind of beyond that. I can't remember. Oh well, it was there, but you get off on a little rant. I know what it was. So you were talking about waiting to bring your stud to the market until he's no longer a 50-50, right? He's not half.
No, I'm okay with a 50. I'm okay with a 50.
You're okay with 50-50?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you were speaking about bringing consistency, and I guess if there's consistency on both sides, what you were looking for.
Yeah.
We see that. We kind of see that, we see breedings go down, or the females just kind of, and then the male is like a crazy, and then they get this unicorn, right? That looks a lot like the male, but because he's 50% his mom, he doesn't produce.
Yeah.
He just doesn't produce those traits because he's still 50% mom, which was just.
He's good at that. That's a dog though. That's like good enough for me. Like if the pheno is there, he's good enough for me to say, let's see what he does geno wise.
Right.
If the pheno is not there, I don't care about your geno.
Right. Sometimes they'll throw it. Sometimes they consistently.
I'm not going to find out though.
Yeah.
That's too much money to just.
I know. I'm just not going to find out. Like when it comes to that, I'm more interested in playing that game with my females. But when it comes to a stud, I don't want to find out. I really need you to look the look, and then I need you to walk the walk.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can't. No. I'm not playing.
And I'll give you an example that might work. Maybe doesn't work. Was Mac being blue, right? Blue, and then people are like, some people don't like blue dogs. They don't want to breed to a blue dog because they don't want a bunch of blues, right? So you have to breed your blue dog and show proof that he can produce color, right? That's the only time, like, they'll look at that dog and they'll say, man, he's crazy, but he's blue, and I don't want a whole litter of blue puppies.
Do y'all get that?
Yeah. Yeah, we get people that don't want to use the dog because they're blue. And, so you have to prove that dog produces color, right, for the color chasers, I should say. And now we do have some people we have some people that love blues.
I ain't tripping on none of that. Let me get that dog with that pheno and that crazy ass geno, and we'll figure it out next generation.
Yeah, color is like the last thing you should worry about.
Man, what?
Nailing it down.
Are you telling me these people out here passing up on Machiavelli because they worried about color?
There are,
but
using
it, and they're still like, no.
Yeah,
it's when you show him that he produces color, just like you got lilac and chocolate from him.
Yeah.
Then you show him, now it's a different story. It's like, oh, okay, he produces color, that's fine.
So let me ask this: when, better yet, do you feel like Machiavelli is like underrated?
I never really, me personally, like when I got Mac, it wasn't to like create the stack off dog that I was taking everywhere. You know what I mean? He was going to be my tool. He's 3 times grim. Like, if even from a young puppy, he was crazy. So I knew, what he was going to be.
No, in the sense of like when people call you,
right,
and they're wanting to use a stud, do you feel like they are like passing up on this dog? Because I don't feel like he's mentioned as much as he should be, and that's just what I see. I'm just asking, like, what do you see?
Well, I think honestly, if he wasn't in a yard that he's in, if he was with someone else and that was the only stud in their yard, it'd probably be a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Now you go to roguebullycamp.com and you see Machiavelli and you see Seven and you see Ultros, and you see the older dogs that are in the yard. Now you have 3 options. You know what I mean? And I think that makes it tougher for any one of my dogs. Really, I'll tell you this, for the very long time, Mac had more lock-ins than Seven did. Like he was outpacing Seven for a long time.
Okay.
And then Seven started catching up with him. And the one that's really, if I had to say one was like underrated, would be Ultros.
Ultros for sure, right?
Doesn't get the attention that Mac and Seven get by any means. There's no doubt about that.
I think the turning point was when you started bringing Seven out everywhere.
Yeah.
And just like it goes to what you were saying, you bringing the dog out,
it's a must.
It's a must. That's the biggest style of promotion is bringing
see some people out here getting by, man, and they ain't been outside since.
Well, who though? Do they have a proven track record for having studs that produce? Right? There's certain people that
they ain't never been outside since they've been in the breed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, somehow it just works for them. I don't know. I don't feel like it would work for me, so I'm not gonna try it. But it's people out here.
For me, like I gotta see this dog in person. I'm gonna drop $5,000 in your pocket. I'm gonna see this dog in person. I'm gonna put hands on it. I'm gonna see it move. I'm gonna check his fucking bite. I'm gonna look at his fucking asshole. $5,000. You're gonna let me do almost anything you want. I want for fucking $5,000. And for me, like I'll spend $1,000 just to be able to see what my $5,000 investment is gonna go to. Because it's just a return on my investment.
Yeah.
I'm not a gambler. I don't go to the casino. I don't play blackjack. I don't do none of that shit. I like to hold on to my money. I like to make my money count.
Even though we will say in Ohio, things were different when we were at dinner in Ohio. Remember, Seven was with my camera's going crazy. Seven was with Jim and Hannah. Right, and they were bringing him back to us in Ohio.
Yeah.
So they popped the trunk of the van and they pull Seven out. And he hits the sidewalk, and Han went straight to his pocket. That at that moment, like as soon as Seven hit sidewalk, he was like, "Hold on,
here you go."
Yeah, I'm locking.
There you go. But see, I waited to see him.
You did.
You
did. I'll give you that. And that I think everybody should. And that's the important thing of trying to stress to people, just like Ray here, I'm bringing a dog out. Like if he's good enough, I'm bringing him out. And people should be there at the shows to see these dogs. The day of a guy posting a picture on Facebook and that being good enough for you, I think that's over.
Yeah, for me it is. I got to see these dogs in person.
The community is saying otherwise. They are saying, I'm going to let my money talk. And they're going with the stud owner is good at marketing. The stud owner is a great promoter. The stud owner creates a audience for his stud and the puppies of his stud. So they're going to ride that wave,
right?
Without ever seeing that dog.
Well, you as a breeder should, and you've seen me do it. I do it. I market, and to sometimes, to a fault, I will market other people's breedings for them that breed to my studs. I'll share their dogs, even if their dog's into adulthood. 007 is not my dog, but I'll share him because people need to realize A, this is what the dog produces. B, that me as a breeder are going to be behind you long after the C-section.
Right.
That I'm there for you, because if it benefits you, it benefits me at the end of the day. If you have a great litter and it's exactly what you wanted, and I throw it out there and I say, hey, look at this great litter Ray had, amazing pups, check all these pups out. How does that hurt me? It doesn't. It benefits my stud. Early when it's funny because early when Mac was young, he's unproven. He's young. He doesn't have any litters on the ground yet. And people were asking me about locking him in. I would post pictures of Mac and they would say, who's he off of? And I'd say, oh, he's off of Luca Brasi. And they were like, man, I got to go lock in Luca Brasi. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, how the hell are you going to look at this stud, which is clearly he's not just Luca. He's Luca and Coco. He's a joining of
that sort of thing going on in her head.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, I'm just going to go lock in Luca. And I was like, I mean, I ain't mad because I know Bernard and it's good for him. He'll get the money. But I'm like, how you going to look at my dog and think I should go lock in this stud? And I'm like, it drove me nuts for the longest time.
Yeah.
So that happened often too.
It did early on. Now, the older Mac got, the bigger Mac got. I mean, it got to the point where you could tell Mac was something more than the son. He was something more than his individual parents. You know what I mean? He was the sum of them put together.
And he about to be a wave.
And that's when it shifted. Now that's when they saw him and they wanted to talk about locking him in.
Yeah, good.
It took a minute. People don't get upset when you take your dog out and they're talking more about the stud that it came off of than your stud. It just shit happens.
Yeah.
It happens. People don't think. I don't
know what that's like. It's gonna be my first time trying to
be ready.
Do that.
Better be ready. It's just the way it is. But hopefully,
you got it. You got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if it comes, that means the dog is good. They're not going to come for you if they don't feel threatened.
Right. Well, not only that, when you start bringing that stud out, let's say you get your stud and you like him, you being overly critical, a lot like I am, you may be to the point. If you said, I'm not bringing a stud until it meets the exact pinpoint of what I expect the dog to be, you'll probably never bring a dog out. You'll never, right? Because no dog is ever going to meet your impossible criteria.
He's not.
He's not. You have to say this dog a good stepping stone to has he served the community as a tool to do something, right? That may be a good reason. And start bringing him out and let people see him and decide for themselves, because you are too critical. You're too critical. You're too critical of a perfectly good dog. So just something to keep in mind when you're deciding whether you're bringing that boy out or not.
I know. I am very critical, but I know, like, this is different. Like, I'm like, this is different. I'm critical, but I know, like, this is different. I can still, say what its flaws are, but I know, like, everybody, you don't, what I have here, I'm like, you don't make these every day.
Right. And that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Some people, I guess maybe not you necessarily, but like I say, there are people that are super critical like us.
Yeah.
And they may tear their own dog apart before it ever leaves the yard. Like, there's some obvious hell no's, but there's some minor shit that people just obsess about. And I was guilty of it in the past.
Oh yeah, bro. Like when so remember when Dina stopped by the house and she FaceTimed you? And she's like, who do you think these are off of? And it was our little black tri micros. At first, we were like, yeah, we got some prospects. We don't know what we're gonna do yet, if we should bring them out or not. And it's the moment she saw them, she was like, oh, you better bring these fucking dogs out. And then she FaceTimed you.
Yeah.
And you're like, I forgot what you said, but she's like, no, these are micro. and you were like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, that was the problem. Is like, you don't get that depth,
Right.
on because there's no one else in the frame but the dog.
Yeah.
And to me, it just looked like a pocket. You know what I mean? And when you were like, these are the micro, I'm like, holy shit, what? No fucking way.
This has got a lot freakier than I thought.
And I really I like his little Debbie, and they got a whole herd of little Debbies. Like they all crazy like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are
they? You be hiding? You be hiding stuff?
Oh, we hide all kinds of shit, bro.
Oh,
it's like because we are our own worst critics. It wasn't until Dina was like, no, this dog is amazing. You definitely need to bring him out. Then it, got my wheels in motion. Like, okay, maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I'm being too much. I am that guy that's going to overanalyze my dog, 100%.
So what it take for you to be like, okay,
someone I respect, highly respect,
say
this dog is worthy of being outside. Like,
that's right.
You shouldn't keep this dog a secret.
Exactly.
How old is that dog by the time you even reach out to find out that opinion?
Well, he was 9 months old right now. So this happened a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So when we're gonna see it, the dog?
Maybe in a couple months. I put a reel up. Today.
He's got enough black dry dogs to like just fill up the whole micro house. He could have his own micro
of hidden dogs.
Yeah,
hidden dog. Yeah,
he's got a whole herd of them. Yeah. Crazy. But yeah, so I'm saying, I know how you think. I'm there. I've been there.
Right.
I know how you think. So definitely reach out to other people you trust and put the dog in front of them and let them evaluate the dog too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, because if I get that feel that you're talking about, when it comes to a male, if I don't feel like it can come outside, I feel like it's a pet home.
Right.
Yeah.
So there ain't no in between. Like if it can't go outside, it's just major black and white.
Yeah. I don't blame you. You have a larger goal, and it's a big ass goal. And at the end of the day, we don't know. I have a goal, but I don't know that I'm going to get to it. I'm working on it. Like that's what I'm going to do. I might fall over dead before I get there. I don't know. You know what I mean? But we just keep pushing. We keep pushing. That's our job. That's our job.
As long as I'm having fun with it, I'm not stopping. If I stop having fun before I reach the goal, then that's the only way it's not happening.
Right.
Yeah. It takes a different kind of mindset to really propel yourself from where you are to where you want to be,
Right.
Like for me, my mindset is I got a fucking death grip on tomorrow. Yesterday was already over. Whatever the fuck happened, I can't change it. I can't do nothing from it. I got a death grip on tomorrow. Tomorrow's my day. That's my mindset.
God damn, that's super motivating. That's very.
Yeah.
I don't have that outlook, but I like that.
Yeah.
So yours is just super focused on the long term.
So far out.
Right.
So far out. But I'm still focusing that far out that it can be stressful. I feel like Hans he just grabbing life by the horns every day, and this shit is like fun and free.
Oh, it's stressful. It's stressful. I mean, there's a reason I got no hair. I rip that shit out every day. But I've lived my worst day. And I'm still fucking alive. And I'm gonna take tomorrow by the horns. I got a death grip on tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna see me regardless of what the rest of the world has planned. Tomorrow's gonna see me.
Is this like what you just tell yourself, or you really lived your worst day?
Oh yeah, bro. I mean, I made it through my worst day. Yeah.
And that explains exactly why he likes cinnamon Pop-Tarts.
Not cinnamon, bro. Brown sugar.
Brown sugar. Exactly. Because he's already had the worst thing in the world. So those are fine.
You're an interesting guy, man.
Rosie.
Shit. Nah.
Have you ever been depressed before?
Oh shit. Oh, bro, I think it's human nature to go through bouts of, the roller coaster of emotion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you got the type of outlook that it feels like depression wouldn't even knock on your door.
No.
I think you got a real strong positive outlook. It's interesting.
I think it does benefit you as a breeder to have come from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. I think it benefits you in a lot of ways, but it can benefit you as a breeder.
Oh yeah.
If you have been through cycles in your life where you've been up and down and up and down and up and down, you've had a lot of loss, right? You can come into breeding with that life experience and just stay the course, right? You know
appreciation.
Right.
Yeah.
There's those up and downs. You know you're going to fail. You know you're going to have a win. You know you're going to fail again. It's just part of it. I think if people had a very rosy life and things were very steady and they didn't have issues in their life, if you get into breeding and you start getting slapped with some of these problems that you have in breeding, it can definitely be, discouraging for people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Some people don't recover.
No, they don't.
He said
great value.
Strawberry.
Hey.
Go.
Great value.
Yeah, but Hans definitely has the right.
Oh yeah.
Right attitude. I mean, the right attitude for this.
And for $20, he'll touch something else.
Oh damn!
Did you hear that, Hans?
Cash App.
Whoa!
Cash App.
This guy just said you just touched his soul. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. You're like a gentle giant, quiet.
Oh, I'm a short giant, bro.
I met you, man. You can't lie to me.
I'm a short giant.
How tall are you, Hans?
Shit, I don't know. Maybe 5'8". Yeah.
Nah.
I mean, you're taller than some bully breeders for sure.
I'm taller than Samantha, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's crazy. But no, I think it is a really good outlook. I mean, if you knew Han on a personal level and you kind of talked to him about his life as a child and growing up, you would kind of see how he wakes up every day with like, fuck yeah, today's a good day, regardless of what happens.
To.
So he really lived his worst day already.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Okay. I think that's right. A lot of the reasons why, we click as people that suffer at a young age, it changes their personality a little bit. Yeah. Right. It just changes how their brain works. And you can identify those people when you meet them. They have a certain personality. Yeah. Kind of changes.
I think the biggest thing that draws what makes the community so wonderful is the ones that are really in this. The ones that are truly into this breed and loving these dogs, we always have one thing in common, and that's we love something else more than we love ourselves. Right?
And definitely way, way, way more than we love other people.
Oh, yeah. Facts, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Facts.
Exactly.
So, wait,
you're supposed to be interviewing us, right?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, dude, you're allowed to. I don't care. You do whatever you want.
How do you decipher those people, right? You guys, you're out, you're active. When y'all meeting so many people, how do y'all decipher like those so many personalities? How do y'all do? You know what I mean? Like, how do y'all filter that?
I don't know about him. It's kind of, for me, it's kind of intuitive. There are people I've met and people have told me these are good people, right? But I met them and I talked to them and just intuitively, I was like, these are not good people. The vibe I got from them, they're not. You know what I mean?
So
later down the road, you realize they aren't.
Unfortunately, most people can carry on and act, right?
What?
Most people can pretend to be good-hearted or whatever it is. My biggest tell is time. You give someone enough time, they're going to reveal who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Through the different situations they go through in life, they're gonna show you who they really are. you've given enough time to somebody, you'll see their true character.
Do you feel like the more time you give them, the more opportunity they have to take something from you to reveal their character, though?
Yeah, but that's life. You know what I mean? That's life. Unfortunately, there's no guarantee on the people you keep close that they'll never turn on you. You know, especially when you're dealing something with, like this breed. Money, competition, and clout. You'll see the worst in people. You put those three elements in any equation, you're going to see the worst of people. Yeah. And it's just time. It's time that really shows you who was there, with true intentions from the beginning.
I feel like I never had to be so aware and just actively trying to gauge people's intentions until I fucking came in this community.
Right.
Like, I feel like I just used to meet people genuinely and found out who they were in genuine ways. And once I started doing this, it's like, okay, people have ulterior motives. Yeah. But why? And why am I a part of this motive?
Right.
Or is it everyone? And it's just my turn. Like, I just could not figure out the shit that people would do for money.
Oh, yeah.
And lots of times it's exactly what it is. Now, lots of times you'll see people. Now, this other thing, and Hans, I'm sure, you've seen it. I've seen it. Is the people that you feel like, you have a lot in common with that person, right? You feel in a lot of ways you're kind of on the same level. You're kind of shooting for the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. And then if they feel like they've hit another level, instead of like reaching down to pull you up with them, they're just leaving you. Now they're bigger than you. They can't fuck with you no more. You know what I mean? And that's an unfortunate thing. If you have people that you consider your friends and you have some level of success, you need to do what you can to help them come up with you.
Mm-hmm. How long do you do that for?
Well, it has to be at the same time, and there has to be a level of them willing to do the work. You know what I mean? Like, say, I'll extend a hand to you and I'll try to help you however I can, whatever it is that will help, but if you're not putting in the effort at the same time, well, then I'm not going to help you. You know what I mean? You have to put in the effort. But, there's a select few people that I consider very close friends of mine. And I think at every level, as we push to do better, we're pushing to do better a lot. In a lot of ways, pushing each other.
Pushing each other, yeah.
Yeah, pushing each other to do better.
But you're gonna naturally outgrow each other, some of these people as well. So, at some point it becomes a detriment to yourself to try to bring them along that dead weight.
But I don't think with Han and Carl and a few other people, I don't think the bond we have as friends is directly related to what we do in bullies.
Right, absolutely, yeah. You may outgrow me as far as your exposure, your reputation, your network, but you're never gonna outgrow our bond, because our bond is like you said, it's much more deeper than just dogs.
This is way too genuine.
So apart from there's people I deal with, that are, some would say, at the top of this community, and there's some people I deal with wholeheartedly that are just starting out. Like, it don't matter to me where you're at in this stage. It matters who you are as a person.
Right. And that's the part that I feel is so hard to decipher in this game. And I don't know if it's because I naturally give people the benefit of the doubt, because I don't have the intention to do certain things. So this is not in my mind to think that you're meeting me was not by, coincidence and happenstance.
Right.
And you come to find out some people have been planning to meet you to run some elaborate scheme.
Right.
Once my mind starts,
that's a lot of free time on their hands, bro. They must not be putting the work at home.
Right.
Because in order for you to do that, that's a lot of free time. I don't have the mental capacity or freedom to sit here and scheme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got me, you know, like it just has me in a way where I feel like I'm not genuinely myself in this community because I'm normally a lot friendlier than I, you know, show in this community because I don't want to be a target for whatever schemes is floating around.
Right. Unfortunately, sometimes it's good and bad. And I'll let me speak to that because lots of times you don't want to get caught up in the middle of some bullshit on Facebook, right? And at the same time, but there's been a couple of times where I feel like we have a good reputation. If someone thinks I'm an asshole, message me because I'd love to know why you think that. But at the end of the day, we try to do our best to just be good people and do solid business and just stand on that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you can get caught up in shit, even though you didn't intend to, or you didn't want to be part of it. But sometimes that negativity, it brings attention to you, right? And people come looking for you because of it.
It travels faster than good news.
Drama, 100 times faster, 100 times faster. Like, I don't know. It's weird. But so lots of times you will see that drama is going to drive you to a new level. Not saying you should create drama, but sometimes these guys will inadvertently, they're trying to push themselves up by trying to step on your neck, right? But all it does is just push you to a new level, right? Because it brings people start paying attention to you that didn't know you before.
Right. Do you think will like create drama? Do you think that exists like an entertainment world? You think?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, people.
There's artificial beef.
Yeah,
bro. I call it it's that fucking Beyond Burger, bro. It's imitation meat. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm cool. I'm good.
On a level of 1 to 10.
In fact, when we interviewed Ashton spoke to the fake beef, how they generated a fake beef,
a buzz.
Yeah, between them, the two people, and then as the dogs got older, as they got exposed to the community, but then people were taking sides. This is all internet based. They created this in the background. They're talking to each other and like blah blah blah, but out on the outside, they've created this fake beef that people are actually taking sides on.
Oh my god!
Right?
That worked.
It worked. Well, I mean, you heard Willie Miles, haven't you?
Yeah, right. I mean, Ashton Edwards is 30B is a household name.
Right.
Yeah. I'm saying, did that have anything to do with it, or did he have a badass dog?
Well, I mean,
Boobie's a badass dog. It helped that Boobie is a badass dog.
But you can have, you know how big this community is? You can have a badass dog, and you can go into Bully Mascots, which has got 100,000 people in it, and you could post a badass dog and get 5 fucking likes on that photo.
Yeah, right.
When know damn well you took that dog out in public and people were losing their minds, but you can post in that group and no one will see it. No one will care. You know what I mean? It's very different online than reality. Don't ever post a photo of your dog and get discouraged because it doesn't get 400 likes, because that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the dog. It would definitely, when you take the dog out, that's the proof right there. That's the proof in the pudding. When you bring that dog out and people start because guess what? In real life, there's no fire emojis. They have to respond for real. They have to have some reaction. They're probably going to be like, yeah, it's a pretty nice dog, bro. Like, they do.
In real life, there are no fire emojis.
Yeah. They may say something like, oh, yeah, it's a pretty nice dog. You know what I mean? But you can tell people can't hide their genuine reaction. When you pull a dog out of the kennel and they're like, holy shit, they're like back freaking out. That's there. You can't mask it. You know what I mean? Online, you can post a photo and someone will put a fire emoji on there, and it could mean anything. It just I'm trying to support you. Yeah, I think your dog's trash, but I'll give you a fire emoji because you're my buddy. You know what I mean?
That's a lot.
It is what it is.
That is a lot of game there. If people,
there's too many times I've seen people put fire emoji on dogs, and I'm like, there ain't no fucking way. There ain't no way. Why are you putting a fire emoji on this dog? Like, there ain't no way.
Burn it down, start over.
They're just trying to be whatever. You know what I mean? They're just trying to be semi-supportive or whatever it is. If you want to be supportive to your friend, don't put a fire emoji on his dog. Send him a message and be like, bro, the dog's fucked up. You know, like, that you need to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be real with you. And if you hate me for it, then that's fine. That's whatever.
That's not your friend.
It just is what it is. If I really could be, here's the thing, Hans can't come to my house and tell me something I don't already know about my dogs. But if he did see something and he didn't tell me, I'd be like, you fucking asshole. Why didn't you tell me? Like, I didn't see it. Why didn't you tell me? I would expect him to put me on. I would expect him to hold my feet to the fire.
You don't think that's
at that stage, the stage that Roger's in, then yes, he would want that. At the stage he's at, right? Starting off is hard for someone who's new to. There's the enthusiasm is so high, the eagerness is so high. You give somebody some fucking gold, and they're like, "Nah, what's this fool's gold over here?" Or I like fucking silver better. You know what I mean? And it isn't until they go to the jeweler and the jeweler's like, "This shit's fake as fuck." Then they realize, oh fuck, well, maybe I should draw back my enthusiasm. Maybe I should absorb some actual knowledge. You know,
It's
I get a jeweler, Hans.
if you were brand new, right? If you were brand new and someone came to you with that hard reality, it would probably would have pissed me off. I'm like, you know, whatever.
It's a hater. You're a hater.
I get it.
I'm glad we brought this up because I feel like
A certain
Hans
level.
should have saved me when I first met him.
Saved you how?
By telling me that, hey, buddy, that's really not.
Well, okay, so
how
old was your dog?
That.
How old was your dog at that time?
7 to 8 months. He was in that puppy class.
Okay, so he's not fully mature.
Right.
Right. So how would I know what he would turn out to be? Structurally, is he there structurally?
He was EC-West, very.
No, you're just saying age wise.
Huh?
Was he done growing age wise? You know,
Right.
He finished out that way too.
Yeah, but not all do.
Okay, so not all do.
Not all do.
Sometimes that chest spreads out. Sometimes they turn back in. You know what I mean? So I people ask me all the time, like, hey, which puppy would you pick? Why'd you do the breeding? Right? Why did you use the stud you used?
Right.
Because he brought attributes to the female that you wanted to enhance. So pick the pup that best represents that. Right? You know what I mean? They're gonna pick the pup that looks like the mama. But you bred to the male. You know what I mean? Like, make it make sense.
I know somebody.
So,
But to speak to that about letting you go in a ring with a dog that clearly wasn't going to win. All right. I think especially when you're new, you need to fall on your face. You need to fall.
Absolutely.
Because if everyone kisses your ass and doesn't let you fall on your face, then there's that. It's the same thing. Like, your first time you stick your hand in hot water is the last time, right? It burns the shit out of you. You're like, oh, okay, I should stick my hand in boiling water, right? But if someone always told you don't stick your hand in boiling water because it's going to hurt.
But why?
Yeah, you don't know the answer. You don't realize it.
Right.
When you stand in a show ring and you have a dog that you think is worth winning and he consistently gets passed over on, what happens?
You're curious now.
Well, what happened? There's two things. You have a realization that your dog ain't the shit. You thought it was, but it ain't. Or two, here comes the conspiracy theories. It's favoritism. It's my dog don't win because it's favoritism. Yeah, my dog don't win because it's politics.
Well, when you that early in there, you're definitely not thinking like that. And I was joking with you though, Hans, because I had just met you in passing. Like, I didn't know you. But yeah, probably that day, if you would have told me my dog was trash, I'm like,
fuck this guy.
yeah, bro. I came up to him like super nice too. Like, damn, bro, that's a nice dog. What's your name? Where you from?
Yeah.
You're gonna be at the show tomorrow. I hope you win. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah, I hope I win too. Your dog's ass. Like,
nah,
what?
bro. Nah. And that's the thing. I don't see when someone says, "Hey, look at my dog." I don't look at faults. That's the problem with a lot of people. They'll look at faults first. I look at your dog. I look at the head. I look at the attributes that I like in a dog. The last thing I look at is faults, especially when it comes to a dog that's not fully mature. So many things can happen. I mean, look at some of these top studs that have been passed on and then bought back.
So you have like 360 outlook of just like positivity first.
Yeah. Well, that's the way a dog should be judged.
to.
It should be judged on its positive attributes, not its negative.
Right.
What does the dog bring to the breed? Not what does it take away from the breed.
Yeah. On my own dogs, though, I see them negatives.
Well, yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all do. But when you go to breed, if you have a male or a female and you say, oh, God, I hate this about her. Her tail set is fucking terrible. Her tail stands straight up in the air, right? I hate her tail set. Her head's too small. I don't like it. Yeah, you're allowed to. That's fine. You're allowed to do that. But at the same time, you have to look at her and say, does she bring a positive attribute that I need? Does she bring bone? Does she bring chest width? Does she have a back length that I'm looking for? Does she have turn to stifle? Does she have good angulation? What positive traits does she bring?
Right.
Then look at your male and say, you know what? I got this male. He's a little stiff in the rear, but he's got a good tail set. He's got, all these other positives. So you just found yourself a matchup. You found a male that fixes that tail, You found a female that fixes his angulation. So you put those things together. But if you're super critical about everything, you're never going to find a match because all these negatives and all these negatives never equal positive.
Yeah.
So if people are not doing like, those complimentary breeding saying, hey, this is what my girl lacks, this is what I need, whatever, kind of draw that thing out to create the best breeding. How do you pick a stud if you don't like man, what's that process to come up with a stud if you can't find no positives?
Depends on who you are. Like if you're like us, then a stud is chosen based off the positive attributes that he could bring to the female in question. So
now I'm not going to go ahead and I identify the flaw. I identify a flaw. But I'm not picking a dog based on the lack of flaws, right? I'm just not going to double up on them. Like my female has, this that I want to improve. I'm not going to breed her to a stud that has the same issue.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everywhere else on this dog is an improvement of my female. That's why I'll breed to this dog, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it does long ass comment. I ain't got time to read all that. I got like 3 sentences. I'm trying to talk right now. I can't read all that. I'll have to look at it in a minute. But so yeah, I mean that's that focus is focusing on bringing positive attributes into breeding, not being kennel blind and not seeing the negatives, obviously. If she has a long ass muzzle and you got a male and he's got breed type, but he has a long ass muzzle too, guess what? You're gonna get more long ass muzzles. And maybe it's not a good match. Find you another female that has a short muzzle and brings the positive attributes he needs, right? Then you have that possibility of producing something with a short muzzle and those other positive attributes you wanted to put together.
Right.
But doubling up on a negative is not going to benefit you in any way.
You think people are afraid to start over? You think that's a thing?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. If
The
you
time and money.
if
Time
you
and
bought,
money.
let me ask you this: if you bought, let's say you had $2,500, that's all you had, and you had to buy a car to get to work, right? You bought that car and you drove it to work for a week, and you say, "This car's a piece of shit. This car fucking sucks. They ain't got no air conditioning. The radio sucks." But guess what? You bought it, and you ain't got no other money and no other way. The only way you could do it is if you sold that car to buy another one, right? What are people going to do? They're going to make the best of it. They're going to drive that piece of shit car until they can do something better. It just is.
Right.
That's just the default action.
Or you could take the bus for 2 weeks and double up your money and buy a better car.
Yeah. But how many people will say, "This car's a piece of shit, I'm not driving it"? You put it up for sale and you just start taking the bus for a while and you save up and try and buy a different car, right? You do. Now, people don't do it. When's that? I ain't never done that. I drove a piece of shit car until I could afford to buy
bills fell off. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of the same way. That's a same kind of suffering situation in life that everyone goes through. You know, they do that. There's things about your life that sucks, and you just accept them for what they are, and you try to make the best of it. In this breed, you should not try to make the best of it. You shouldn't. If it's so far off the mark that you can't line up a set of positive attributes, you should start over.
Yeah. I know when I had to eat it. I was like, yo, I came in wrong. I gotta eat it.
Yeah. And it just is what
you don't necessarily need to start over if you have the time, patience, and resources, right? Because starting over is an impossible decision for some people to come to.
Yeah.
But in order for you to improve, you have to change direction, right? You can't keep going the same fucking way, expecting you're gonna get over here. So you got to change direction. I'll give you a prime example. Like Samantha's, for 10 years, she's been working on producing Little Debbie. Her great grandma never really placed too heavy in competition. She was bred. That generation wasn't highly competitive in the show ring. And it happened that way for 5 generations. Little Debbie is a produced grand champion dog who came off of dogs that aren't titled. But the work, the resource, and the change of direction got Little Debbie to where she is now, right? If we would have just kept going the same way, we would end up in the same place. You got to change direction. You got to see what tools you have at your disposal. You have to adjust things, incorporate different things. And your results will be what you want them to be. But you have to have that open mind and dexterity to go for it, right? A lot of these people that don't want to start over are just going to breed the same style of dog over and over and over and over again, and then be frustrated why they're not being competitive in any aspect, right?
Right. So, all right, I got another question for y'all. With that, how funds, how much does funds play into why people don't have better dogs? I feel like a lot of people choose to breed what they can financially afford and not what their dog needs.
So you can be a baller on a budget and create bulls.
I believe that too.
Because just because that dog isn't being in the hands of a well-known breeder doesn't mean that dog's not worthy of being a producing stud, right? So, but you got to know dogs, and you got to be outside enough to see these hidden gems.
Yep.
Right? Because mind you, for me, I'm not locking in or using a dog I ain't put hands on. You know, for me, unless it's from a reputable breeder who has a history of producing dogs that can produce.
Oh, gotcha.
Right. So, but there's a lot of beautiful bulls out there that nobody fucking knows about.
So I feel like you need to be on that approach that you're on. You need to know somebody that produces dogs that can produce dogs.
Right.
And if you're not trying to spend the money for producers that you can see,
right,
then you need to get in front of that train, and you need to be somebody that's gonna say, I'm gonna lock in early. I'm gonna give my bitch to this stud to be one of these, you know, to let's see what he can do.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are not. They're not on that. They're not on that. So, you know, like, do you think the finances are stopping people from breeding better as a whole? Or
I think the lack of patience is probably more of an effect, right? If the stud fees 5,000, you can't afford 5,000. All right. I get that. Right. There's other ways around it. You might, if you have a good enough female, there are situations that might work out for you.
Oh yeah.
There's always that situation. If you can't afford the 5K, hey, maybe we need to pump the brakes for a minute, get ourselves in a better financial position if that's the stud we want to use, instead of making a compromise on a lesser dog just for the sake of getting a breeding done.
They ain't skipping that heat, Roger.
You know what I mean? Pump the brakes for a minute. But yeah, exactly. And too many people take the approach. We go back to the example of the shitty car. Too many people take the approach that what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy this shitty car, and then I'm going to save up and buy some wheels for it, and I'm going to save up and get a paint job, and I'm going to save up and get the motor done.
Oh, I see.
At the end of 7 years, I'll have a pretty nice car. It won't never be that Lincoln, that brand new Lincoln, but it will be a nice car, because I've literally replaced every fucking part of this car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's their approach, is I will take this female and I'll breed it here cheaply, and I'll breed it here cheaply, and I'll try to over time do something that I could have done if I just would have got rid of the female in the first place and brought a quality female. It just takes 7 times as long. But you can
but you can still get there. It's just what you can afford, money or time.
Right. You're going to pay something.
Everybody's different. You're going to pay the piper regardless.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think for me, I think it's worth to, number one, identify what your dog's value is to the community. Does it in any way move the breed forward? Do you see a positive trait of your female that you believe will move the breed forward? You went to a show and you looked at your female and you said, hey, she has got this positive trait that dog in a ring has, and she brings something to the breed, right? Then identify her weaknesses and breed her to a dog that corrects that. It doesn't matter if he's the most popular dog in the world. What matters is that he fixes what's wrong with her. Right. Now, is there a benefit to breeding to popular, well-known breeders' dogs?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And no, it has nothing to do with how good the puppies are. It has to do with how easy it is to sell them.
Right.
The ones you don't want and you want to get rid of, if you breed to that dog and his name's popping off, it's going to be a lot easier to get rid of those puppies.
Branding matters.
But too many times people breed to that, and you know this because I've watched your show, and I know when you hear people talking about their pedigree and you ask them, why did you breed to this dog? The positive attribute conversation doesn't come out. It was because he's this dog. Because he's this dog. They're breeding just to try to create a desirable litter. People want to buy. That's their goal. It's not to move the breed forward.
Now, how do y'all feel on that versus people that are breeding for themselves and people that are breeding like for a business? Like, is it a fine line, or
Well, this is a business. It is a business, period.
Yeah, it's a business.
Regardless of what anybody tells you, this is a business in some aspect. It may be a business plan to where in 5 years, I'm going to be something. These puppies are going to be worth something. This stud I produce is going to be used. It's a business regardless. Now, as far as our approach, we love these dogs enough to do it regardless of how much it costs. Because I'm going to be honest, we are in the negative big time. And it's very, very rare you find a breeder who's in the positive, unless they're cutting corners or, doing certain things. Like, you're in this deep enough, you're in this long enough, you're going to be negative.
I think some people some people just things line up.
Right.
Sometimes
yeah. And then the reality of it is our community, just like kids growing up playing basketball, right? They grow up, they play basketball every day because they want to be Michael Jordan, right? But your odds of being Michael, what was it? It was like a half of a percent of kids make it, or I don't even think it's a half a percent. I can't remember what the percentage was, but the percentage is so minute. Like, your chance of making it to the NBA is zero, basically. You're not going to do it.
And then, your chance of making the NBA is a bigger percentage than your chance of being Michael Jordan.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But it's
Michael Jordan. How many people are in the NBA? Let's just say 500 people.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's 7 billion people on this planet.
Right.
So 500 out of 7 billion, but there's only one fucking Michael Jordan. So 1 out of 7 billion people, I think that percentage is a lot lower.
I'm gonna find that one right here. Let me see.
You'd rather be the 500?
I don't get, bro. Yeah, I'm cool with not making the team, bro. Just pay me.
Yeah,
let me sustain my life.
It's definitely a business for sure. But people do those desirable breedings, but they don't know why they're doing those desirable breedings or why it worked for somebody else and possibly not for them.
Right. Well, there's for me, there's a reason why I would breed too. Let's take the most biggest producer of last year.
I got your stats right here.
Golden Child.
Overall odds. Okay. Overall odds, considering all high school seniors playing basketball, roughly 0.03% will eventually be drafted into the NBA. 0.03%. Yeah, 0.03%. So that doesn't stop people from trying. But the problem is, in our bully community, it's a lot of the same way. We look at the Michael Jordans of American bully community, those guys that have the $1 million dogs, and we say, we're going to be just like that. This is our goal. We're going to be the next Michael Jordan of bullies. And the reality of it is, you're probably not. You're probably not.
Well, because for him, the full circle was there. Mentality, work ethic, physical ability, right? There was so many variables to why Michael Jordan's
timing. Some of this stuff is out of your control too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like you produce that dog, but man, you produce that dog at the right time.
Yeah, and you don't see truly what people's motivations are. You see, just like every stud owner, they post photos of their dogs online, they deal with their customers, but the reality is you don't see after he closes Facebook what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He guarantee you the most successful breeders, when they close Facebook, they sure as fuck don't sit down and watch TV. They're doing something. You know what I mean? They're doing something with their dogs, kennels, and breedings. They're doing something.
My TV is on 24/7. Ask me how much time I sit down and watch that motherfucker.
You just don't have time. There's no way.
I watch it as I walk past it to go do something with the dogs.
Man, yeah. I mean, I don't even get to watch it until everyone is sleeping. I should be sleeping.
He said he's going definitely going to be LeBron at least.
At least. Come on. You got a better chance of being Jordan. Bron's better than Jordan. Let's not start that.
I'm sorry. We don't go there here.
Where's that mute button? Where's that mute button?
Oh, all right. Now it's past 9 o'clock. We were supposed to shut this bitch down, but I do want to talk to you about your podcast. You have your very own podcast, and do you have separate segments? Do you do different days of the week? The only one I've really seen was the Ped Talks.
No, so I do Ped Talks, and then there's a bully society with me and some other breeders where we just get together and say, man, let's try to address some topics, more that's community based outside of that. So, those are some guys that I've been knowing for some time, and we just said, let's not be afraid to speak on some things that people are afraid to speak on. Right. So that's on Thursday, and then we got Ped Talk, which I do on my page. That's on Friday, and we probably do some more stuff. But when we set this thing up, I said, hey, Wednesdays belong to Roger, so we're gonna have to work around that.
Well, we appreciate that one.
Yeah.
And Mondays, I think my boy Joel do Mondays. So we are cognizant of what's happening in the community, and we do pay attention to everybody with Ped Talks. I don't know how the people feel, honestly feel like I'm aware of it. So I intentionally said I'm not doing no podcasts, no days anybody got something going on.
Well, I'm gonna give you an example of that real quick. I watch YouTube. Right. And I watch, there's these guys that crypto mining. I'm into crypto mining. Right. Mm-hmm. So there's all these guys that have crypto mining channels. These guys, they all know each other. It doesn't seem like it on the surface, but if you watch them long enough, you start to realize they know each other. They talk, they schedule their lives around each other. They work together. When sponsors reach out and a sponsor wants to give one of them a product, they're like, no, you got to give it to all my guys, we're all going to do it. Right. So a new product comes out, all of a sudden they all got it. They're all doing a review of it. Right. So they work together, and we should in the community, we should be the same way. If we have podcasts, we're bringing, I'm not saying if you got a shitty podcast and you're an asshole, fuck that guy. All right. But I'm just saying, if you're bringing value to the community, we should not step on each other's toes. We should be very cooperative. We should be on each other's podcasts. We should make sure we don't schedule our shows in a time where we're stepping on each other's feet.
People like to pretend to act like they don't know what's going on or they don't see certain stuff. I'm cool. I didn't know Roger had a podcast. Yes, the fuck you did. Yes, you did. It doesn't hurt to support or to say that you're in the know or,
Right.
But the majority of human nature is me first.
Right.
Right.
But the problem is, people come up to us all the time, and they'll, so I think it's worse for us if people come up and we say, yeah, we got a podcast. And we're like, oh yeah, we didn't know that. Like for me, that feels normal, right? When someone meets us at a show and they corner Hans and they start asking him questions because, oh, you're that guy from the Go Rogue podcast,
Yeah, that's
you could see like Asian business
happening.
The whole face turns red. Right?
I know. I haven't been out since I started doing this thing yet, and
but we just don't
approach me like that, people.
Yeah, we don't expect that. We don't expect that.
You're joking? That doesn't happen.
Right. Well, people don't put me on a pedestal. I'm not that guy.
Right.
That guy. I'm still you.
I'm usually covered in fucking puppy shit or dog piss somewhere on me, dirt, grime, like
just so happened.
Yeah,
under my nails right now.
No, shouldn't you?
Yeah, and I think the problem with it is like we probably gonna talk dogs like forever, and that's really what it is. It's like, man, I don't even know enough people that I can really get on the phone with that want to talk dogs as long as I do.
Well, the weird part is I'll talk on a podcast for 2-3 hours. You could talk to me. You call me on the phone. Okay. Phone calls are there's important. A problem. Here's your solution.
Yeah. Emergency.
All right. My wife will get on the phone. She will talk shit all night long. I'm not that guy. text
No,
me.
you just want to answer.
But I'm not. I worked in the IT industry. When my phone my phone rang. That was a problem. My phone rang for problems only.
And it was time to fix it
They
immediately.
never called me and be like, "Hey, network's running really good today." No, it didn't work. It didn't work like that. My phone rang. It's a problem. So to this day, when my phone rings, it's like, "What's the problem? Here's the solution. Boop, we're done." So a lot of people message on Facebook, which works perfect for me. There's a running documentation of our conversation even. So
yeah, I like it. I love it. I love it.
So,
I love it too.
So this TED Talks, did you purposely steal the TED Talks idea? Okay, just want to make sure. I was like, I don't
purposely.
Yeah. I was like that because nerdy thing. I'm like, TED Talks, that sounds like TED Talks to me, but I didn't know. But
Believe it or not, I asked a lot of people, I'm like, you get it? TED Talks? It was like, no. I'm like, TED Talks?
That's funny.
It's like, what's TED Talks? I'm like, oh, word. You ain't never seen not one TED Talk? Oh, you in for a surprise.
Yeah.
It's only like one of the whatever topic you're interested in, it's a TED Talk about it, I promise you. And it's gonna be a masterclass. So I've been watching TED Talks for years.
I like to get a couple bully breeders on TED Talks just so we can get that shit broke down, get the full story.
A real TED Talk?
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Oh man.
They wouldn't like that.
It's gonna blow. It's gonna blow people's minds.
I done seen some stuff on TED Talks where I'm like, how did this person get a platform? But they broke that motherfucker down in a great way. But yeah, it was intentional. It was intentional. I felt like it was going to be a talk about pedigrees, and it's like, dude, how can it not be Pet Talks?
Right. Absolutely. I love the name. I thought that was great.
It was great. If TED Talks, it is. But believe it or not, Roger, a lot of people don't know that.
Well, this is true.
It's funny.
This is true. So the intent versus what actually happens. So, I mean, it sounds like to me, TED Talks was or PED Talks, I should say, your intent was that people will come on and they're going to give you a breakdown. This is why I bred to this stud, because this part of the pedigree or this and this and this. Is that generally how it happens, though?
It's mostly me probably explaining it.
Right. So you were actually getting into a ped and breaking it down.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's mostly me going in there saying like, this came from that. This is type of line breeding, and just finding some things in people's pedigree, trying to figure out why this works, and maybe for some cases why it didn't work. I don't know. I try to avoid the phenotype of the situation because I don't want to make nobody feel a type of way.
I got you.
So, but it's really hard to do, right? But it's not my intention to touch on the pheno of the dogs. So I started out with an idea, and then I just said, I kind of want to let it go the way the host, the guest wants it to go. It can be a fun night. It can fit 2 in a show. It can fit 3 in a show. It just depends on how the guests come in, how they feel they want to control it. Like, do you want to talk about your pedigree? I would rather you do. Most people want me to do it. They might be a little camera shy or whatever. Some people don't even get on. They just send me the pedigree. And, I feel like, all right, well, I'll talk through your pedigree, but you missed a great opportunity to market yourself. Right. So I just kind of let it go however they want it to go.
Yeah. I think the concept is great. And I think in some instances, I think you're probably doing the exact right thing, right? Because some people, if you brought them on and said, you break this pedigree down for me, they probably can't answer that question.
Right.
Where you are better equipped to break it down for them and say, if this breeding worked out for you, which we don't know if it did or not, obviously, because we didn't see the puppies, we're not involved. But if it did, this is why it did. Look at this in the pedigree. This is a great thing. I think that's an awesome idea.
And I feel like they give me weapons. Like the people that come on the show, it's like I look at pedigrees all day, but I don't know what doesn't exist. So when people send me pedigrees, I'm like, oh, if I see a dog I never seen before, I'm like, oh, I gotta get back until I can find a dog I know. And if that never happens, I'm like, wow, this was an amazing one right here.
Right.
This is, but I'm always trying to find a familiar dog because even if it's Dax, you know, I'm trying to find it. I got to get back there so I can say, okay. But now I'm getting to a point where I can't remember the dogs of the dog. I know the dogs in the pedigree, but I can't like remember the dog. I can be like, yeah, that dog has a relation to so and so now, but I can't really like say, you know, like I can look at Machiavelli's ped and I can see a dog that has like Supernova in their pedigree and be like, that dog's related to Luca Brasi, you know. But I feel like I'm seeing too many pedigrees now. I used to be able to name dogs and pets and really.
Well, hey, when we were talking about seven on the top side, I can go back as far as Axel. I don't know nothing after that. You knew it right off the top. You knew beyond Axel. So
Yeah. I know that pedigree back to Dax.
Yeah.
But it's so the thing is, I don't know every dog's pedigree. I don't.
Right.
I just, if you can tell me who the dad is and the mom, then you'd be like, oh, this mom is Cocaine Cowgirl. I'll be like, okay, I can go take Coco back. And then you say, you know, Zero. I'm like, okay, I can take Zero back. I know Axel. And then, you know, I know what's behind that. Mostly you got to get to know the males. The females fall in place. They have to have a dad. So, you know, I don't really focus. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then you got some few females, they make themselves on the level of a stud, like a Cocaine Cowgirl, you know? Like you got that. It's not often.
Look, Jack's showing off. Go find
There
him.
There he go. And he is right.
Yeah. No, and actually, and it's really good. Honestly, it is good. I've never been one to focus too much beyond like 3 generations. I'm looking, I guess it's kind of a way of saying just looking at the dogs in front of you when I say I'm just looking at the 3 generations in front of me, right? Because I can
the pit bull thing though, you know, like this comes from the pit bull thing. So like I remember back in the days, me and my brother, we used to go and we used to write pedigrees down on paper. And then try and match them up and flip them around. Well, how will we do this? And how will he breed that? And that was on paper. And he would keep it. And then you would bring up a pedigree later, much like the internet. You would mention a dog and he'll pull out a book on the pedigree he then wrote down. And this dog, that dog. And he still does it. I'm like, we got the internet now. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. He'll pull it out. Oh, let me show you. I wrote this down to go with this breeding. I'm like, I can put that in Bully Decks right now, and we can really do that. Don't take an hour to write that pedigree out.
But no, I think absolutely. If you guys follow us, you can go. And that's right on your personal, right? So DCB Ray Wilson.
Yeah, it is.
So that's where you find him. If you don't want to be friends with him, that's fine. Just follow him.
I stream it to YouTube as well.
Okay. So where are you on YouTube? What is it on YouTube?
DCB Kennels.
Okay. So you do it live on YouTube. And I think that's amazing. I think if you're trying to learn, I mean, that's not saying he's old school.
Wow.
He's been around for a minute.
You can't explain what goes on in
Brian's
Westy's head, bro. You can't explain it. It happens.
Right? Have you ever?
The gears turn and magic.
I was, as a kid, I was really bad at forgetting shit. But for some reason, I figured out if I wrote it down, even if I didn't keep the piece of paper, I would remember it because I wrote it down. I always thought because I wrote it down, my brain remembered it just because I was lazy. I didn't want to get in my pocket and pull it out. But something is weird.
I mean,
2 input sources, verbally written down. There's 2 sources.
I'm a see it kind of person.
You can be a visual learner, an audible learner, a hands-on learner, or a kinesthetic. Kinesthetic is a multitude of all of those elements, right? So if you need to hear it and do it, or see it and do it, that's the kinesthetic way of learning something. So
I gotta see it.
Most people need both. Most people need to do both.
Brian said I'm old enough to know T-Rex peds, which I don't even know.
He ain't talking about the dog. He's talking about the fucking
Dinosaurs.
All right, see, and sometimes I don't get jokes. My wife is the worst about that. Sometimes I don't get jokes.
She's like, "Who's T-Rex? I want to see
she's like, well, I
him.
want to see that dog. I want to see that."
Bring him to the show."
Raptor? I know Raptor's pet.
Reptar, yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's a great concept. I think somebody should definitely, like, on a regular basis, be on there sharing their pets, letting you drive. People, you drive, you come on, you break down your ped for everyone else. Yeah. What I think what the great concept is you be able to come on there, give them a ped and say, this was my motivation for doing this breeding. Whether it is a hit or it wasn't, I would be fine with people sharing peds and it didn't work out.
Yeah, and I would like to revisit those people in the future and say, let's see what happened with that.
Yeah, how did this breeding not work? Tonight I'm going to share a breeding with you that didn't work. Right. So on paper, it's like Brian, on paper, it should have worked, right? Yeah. Or on the breeding simulator, it should have worked. But sometimes now our breeding simulators, like what is it? Bullypedia.
Oh yeah, Bullypedia.
You can look and see what percentage your dog is of a certain dog. You could say, hey, this dog's 23% grim, right? Yeah. And then go in and say, hey, this dog's 20% grim, but he's 10% this other dog and 10% it breaks it down into like a chart for you.
Yeah.
So you can see how tightly you're breeding, how tightly, because I got a kick. I would go there and look at futures because it says 75% Smeagol. And I just think that's funny. So I'm like, that's how ridiculous. But so we have the tools today. We can go in and we can share our peds and say, hey, look at this ped. This is what I did. This is what I produced from it. It would be nice if they brought you a ped of a year-old dog that they could all then there show you the dog afterwards and say, this is what I bred and this is the product of it. That would be amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. That's TOI software.
Yeah, software. How does that work?
I imagine you have to input all the peds into it.
Yeah.
Man, that's time.
There we go.
You know what?
Intuition. This is true. This is what tells me why breeding isn't going to work. True. Sometimes it isn't the math, but sometimes it is.
Yeah, you're just trying to get that thing out in front of you so you can see how it breaks down and jumps out.
Yeah. No, I think it's amazing. I think people should definitely check it out. They should definitely get in. What is this? Oh, okay. People should definitely and go throw some peds at you and let you take a look at them. Maybe they're not confident enough to break that down. Maybe they can have you break it down for them. I think it's amazing. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I think they'd be scared. I'd be judgy too much, I guess. Sometimes, I see a really scattered one and, maybe my facial expressions is probably saying,
tighten this up.
Good job. See, man, I got to have an outlook like Hans.
We need to tighten this up. That's what we need to do.
That's a very simple way to say that. Literally, too, though.
So what you need to do is you need to text Han. Okay, this is what I want to say.
Yes.
The next day, and then he'll text you back with a positive spin on it.
Yeah. Tighten this up.
Tighten this up. So how do I say?
Can I be like, hey, this is a good pedigree. You need to tighten this up. Does that come off good?
Yeah, I think I like it.
Okay.
Yeah. And you ask people before you bring them on the air, like, how do you want to do this? Maybe they'll, me personally, I would give you a ped and I'll be like, go have at it. Like, whatever. I probably wouldn't give you a ped of a dog that's not already grown. So I could tell you what the result was.
Right.
I think
Brian's got to get on his show.
Brian's going to get on your show. Yeah.
Brian's going to come on my show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do that. And when
we officially volunteered him.
Who you going to bring on?
Officially volunteered him.
bring a ped, Brian, and go on Ray's show.
Yeah, I would like to see. You got a dog over there named Evil Knievel, I believe, and he got some kids out, and I've seen some breedings.
Because then you can break down the ped, and then Brian can show you how he broke it down on his abacus and why it was.
Oh yeah, Brian's gonna be like, "Damn, I never seen it vividly before."
But then he's gonna be like, "And this was the end result."
Yeah, this
And
is
you're
why
like,
it worked.
Whoa.
And you're gonna be like, all right.
Mm.
Either way, it works.
Brian, you gotta show the result.
Yeah, show your work. Show your work. Just like math. All right, guys. Well, it's 9:24. We're 24 minutes over, which is a good thing. I love when a conversation is engaging enough for it to run over. So that's pretty awesome. Well, Ray, I appreciate you coming on, brother. I hope we get some people come over there and start giving you a hard time with your ped show, because it's definitely worth it. I love everything about it. I think it's a great concept, and I'm sad I didn't think of it first. But
thank you. Hey, that's an honor. Anytime somebody do something, be like, "Damn it, I should have." Damn it. That's one of those things, like you making those end caps inside of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's one of those. Hey, I appreciate y'all for having me on here, man.
So one more time before we go, tell everybody where they can find you at.
Man, DCB Kennels on all platforms. On Facebook, you get directly to me. Personal page, DCB Ray Wilson. Everything business related to the kennel is going to be DCB Kennels. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, DCB Kennels, different cloth bullies. We are in Virginia.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just slightly south of
What happened?
Just slightly south of us.
Yo, yeah, right. Just a little bit. So yeah, I want to come out. I want to come out to see the dogs, Roger. If you know, we'll figure that out.
Philip wants to know what
the show's on Friday, and it is in the evenings. I don't have a dedicated time. I just do it in the evenings, just depending on how that Friday is going with my dog and with my kids. Then but I do make time for it on Friday evening, no matter what. Sometimes late, unfortunately, but family comes first, and then this is my fun thing. So I'm sorry I don't have a dedicated time, but it happens on Friday.
Right. And then when you do those lives, you just leave them up, right? You don't let them.
Yeah, I leave them up.
Yeah. So if you miss it on Friday, you can watch it on Saturday.
And if something happens to Facebook, it's on YouTube.
That's right. So
there you go.
First thing you do is go to our YouTube, the Go Rogue Podcast, follow us, and then go to Ray's and follow him. Don't do it the other way around.
No.
Don't do it backwards.
You'll get canceled.
But if you go to mine first, that means you went rogue.
Yeah, I guess so.
Damn.
Stealing my shit.
I'm signing off, y'all. I really appreciate y'all for having me on.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you. Thank you very much. Later. All right, brother. What do you think?
I'm fucking starving.
All right. Well, you go get something to eat. You guys, please hit us up on YouTube. How many left? We still got 31 people on. We got the dedicated few holding on to the end. If you haven't yet, please find us on YouTube. Joe Mills is on YouTube right now. Jerry's on YouTube right now. Anybody that's not on YouTube, run over there real quick. Find us, the Go Rogue Podcast.
Please.
On YouTube. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to give away something major. Ain't going to be cheap. I promise you that. When we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So please jump over there and check that out. If not, if you're not a YouTube guy, I get it. You can find us right here on Facebook on my personal Roger Stout. When Hans fixes it on his personal Hans Berquist, and on our Facebook page, the Go Rogue Podcast on our Facebook page. We're on Instagram too, but we don't stream on Instagram. We do stream on Twitter, but no one's ever liked or responded from Twitter. So Twitter. All right, guys, you have a great
because it's X now, bro.
Right, Twitter X.
It's X.
But we appreciate you guys. You have a great evening. We're gonna let Han go get something to eat.
Yeah, fat and hungry.
Later.
Thank you all. See ya.